Hey everybody, how's it going? So a few months ago I did this video titled "The Erosion of Freedom and Privacy Occur Because We Consent to It," and I'm discussing a new feature that was introduced in iOS 14 whereby the OS would compare and contrast the hashes of known CSAM in a known CSAM database with the images on your device if you were syncing those images to iCloud. Some people said, well, this is a good thing. Other companies are going to decrypt your stuff server-side to look through it. This is only going to check the hashes client-side and not do any sort of decryption server-side once it's in the cloud. Other people were up in arms saying, "What are you serious? You're going to go through stuff that's in my phone before it gets synced and compare and contrast it to no CSAM to have it flagged for reporting it to the FBI? Really? No." And the argument I made in this video is that most of the erosions of our freedoms, most of the erosions of our privacy occur because we would like a little bit more safety, or maybe this will prevent a crime. Maybe this will result in us being a little bit more safe. And what I notice is that a lot of people end up consenting to things that 10 or 20 or 30 years down the line, they're like, oh my God, why are we living with this? And it's because we agree to it in the moment. Now, just following up on this feature, there is an interesting post here on MacRumors and also the New York Times where they have a 46-page study by researchers that look at a plan by Apple and the EU to monitor people's phones, and they just ripped it to pieces. They said the expansion of surveillance powers of the state is really passing a red line. Aside from surveillance concerns, the researchers said their findings indicated that the technology was not effective at identifying images of CSAM. Within days of Apple's announcement, they said people had pointed out ways to avoid detection by editing the images slightly. It's allowing scanning of personal private device without any probable cause for anything illegitimate being done. Now, the part that I found really interesting here that didn't make up most of this article is that this is not just going to be done for CSAM, and it is not just going to be done by Apple. One of the things I've said on this channel, one of the things I've argued for a long time, is when Apple does something that's anti-repair, everybody else follows suit. Apple glues the battery in, Samsung glues the battery in. Apple gets rid of the micro SD card slot, Samsung gets rid of the micro SD card slot. Apple gets rid of the headphone jack, Samsung gets rid of the headphone jack. Everybody copies what a company does if they are more successful and they were able to get away with it. Now, Apple released something about scanning your device for CSAM, and guess what? The EU decides the same thing, except in this document that I'll link below, it's about more than just CSAM. We're moving on a little, again, we're just moving the goalpost a little bit further. So this one focuses on CSAM, but it also focuses on terrorism, organized crime, and CSAM. And it's going to be using a similar technology doing a similar thing, and I will link this document down below. Now, this document is dated long before Apple announced this feature. But do you think that it is going to embolden them to go ahead with this if Apple goes ahead with it and there's no serious pushback? Probably. And again, when you're thinking about this, terrorism, cybercrime, and CSAM. First, it was just CSAM. Now it's terrorism and cybercrime. Now, you may think, okay, that's good. Well, who likes terrorists? You must want terrorists if you don't want people going through the data that's on your phone. Well, what is a terrorist? 20 years ago, a terrorist was someone who is strapping bombs to themselves and blowing up planes. Now, depending on what corner of the internet you're on, a terrorist may be somebody that is angry at a school board meeting. A terrorist may be someone that is involved at a BLM protest that is chanting while holding a sign because they're pissed off at police brutality. A terrorist may be someone that is protesting a lockdown where they are not legally allowed to go to work, but they're still fully expected to pay all of their bills. A terrorist may be someone that's screaming "Free Julian Assange" at a protest. What is a terrorist? What was a terrorist 20 years ago? What is a terrorist today? What will a terrorist be 5 or 10 or 20 years from now? And will the definitions of these terms change depending on who's in power and who they like? And above all, do you want people who get to redefine these definitions having the ability to go through your encrypted data? I would yell no, because there are many people in my comment section that you will see get very, very angry that I even included Group A next to Group B when I made that list. Many people will disagree on what this means, but I think there's one thing that we can all agree on. It's that we want our privacy. I don't want people going to the shit that's on my device. I don't want people going to the shit that I have on my computer because I respect privacy. And I appreciate the fact that there is pushback on this, but the more you see pushback on these measures, the more you realize that other companies, but more importantly, governments, were looking to utilize these measures before Apple even announced that they were. And if we don't push back now, it's not going to be a pretty future ahead. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And to be clear, I understand there are people that say this is alarmist, this is a slippery slope argument. Fair. Point taken. I'm most certainly on the slippery slope side of this. And when I look back at the past 20 to 40 years, I don't think it's unreasonable to be on the slippery slope side of this argument, and I don't think it is wrong to be on the side of the argument that just fundamentally does not want to concede any more violations of my personal privacy. But you let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll include links to all the documents and everything down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Also, just so you know, for those of you who've been asking, Mr. Clinton was not paid a greenie. He has not been behaved in the past 2 videos that he did, and he didn't even show up for this one. There's no way that he's earned a greenie, and I'm actually going to be putting him on a greenie diet where he does not get greenies anymore until he learns how to behave. See you in the next one.